Tina, and you're watching You Made That. And I have Abbie with me.
Hi.
Because she makes all the things, all the embroidery things. So we're going to learn a little bit about Abbie, how she got started with her stitching, and how she has an Etsy shop, and we'll just share some things here. Now, for you, Abbie, I have my mom's embroidery tablecloth, and it's like upside down. Sorry, but yeah. So I thought it was just very appropriate.
Fitting. Very
fitting. So okay. So tell me, how did you get started with embroidery?
Yes, good question. I never thought of myself as an artist. I did some artsy things, but never really thought I would ever do it as like a full-time job or a part-time job. But during the pandemic, my husband and I moved to Florida, and I basically had nothing to do right at the start of that. It was before we got our dog, before we really had any friends or anything. So I thought I need to go to Michael's and find some puzzles, some painted by numbers, some who knows what. And I found an embroidery kit, and I was like, I've never seen anything like it before, but let's give it a shot. I think I had seen a couple times on Etsy and like Pinterest and Instagram some embroidery things, so I thought, it seems like a cool thing to do right now. I'll give it a try. And I really enjoyed it. I started then creating some of my own designs. This was the first one that I made that I designed it by myself. I picked the colors and the fabric, and I had to learn how to trace the fabric on and learn how to do all these stitchings. And it's definitely not, it's not something that I would make today, but it's still very special to me because it's one of my first ones. If you want. Yeah. This is another one that's one of my first embroideries. It was my first one I did with lettering, and I do a lot of lettering and like cursive and stuff like that. I think it's a lot of fun to make kind of custom pieces for people. So yeah, and 2 different colored fabrics. I mostly work with white fabric now, but it was kind of fun to have a period of time where I did very fun fabrics.
Okay, let me ask you about that. So did you buy an embroidery kit day one at Michael's, or did you just buy the supplies and wing it?
So I think I bought a kit, and it kind of it was kind of floral like this one, so I think that's where I got the inspiration to do like another one of my own. Oh, okay. And I think it was a kit. It was just like a little, you know what? It wasn't even a cross-stitch kit. It was something super simple and super like, I kind of finished it in a day, and then so my mother-in-law also does sewing, and she does quilts, and she had a huge hoard of embroidery thread. Nice. She heard that I did this little kit, and she sent me everything. So I think it was kind of a combination of, I knew I'd want to do something similar again after that kit, but also then I had all the supplies sent to me, so that was kind of a very convenient way to get started.
Okay, well, because I cross stitch and I have many stitchy pals, and we talk all throughout the day, but we love to share what we're excited about with the younger generation. So I could see that. It's like, what? Totally. You're cross stitching? Here's all the things.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened. I think she was really excited that, just because it was something we could kind of share and talk about together, and yeah.
Oh, fun! Okay, so yeah, what else do you have? I see more.
Yeah, as I sort of kept embroidering, I found a little bit more of a style of my own. So as you can see, like these 2 hoops are a little more simple. This is more my style, kind of fine lines and small details, and the white and black I kind of like a lot. Yeah, this one was a very popular design for a little bit. I ended up making, I think, I want to say 16 or 17 of these.
Wow.
Last fall for a big custom order. And it was for a wedding photographer. So I had the wedding date underneath this. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but that was a lot of fun. So this is definitely one of my favorite designs.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
This is another one that has an example of the lettering I like to do. So a lot of cursive, because I also like to design that cursive lettering design beforehand, and then I turn it into an embroidered hoop. So I'm not just like free stitching cursive on the embroidery hoop. I design it first and then transfer it over so I can stitch it. So there's that one.
Nice.
This one was a labor of love. All of these are little knots. Probably
those are knots.
Those are all, yeah, kind of like French knots, if you know.
Oh,
yeah.
right. It's like, it feels like carpet. Like you totally have to touch it. I'm sorry. It's very tactile. Like
so this one took a lot of time, even though it's kind of a small hoop, but this is actually yarn instead of embroidery thread. So it did help cover the space a little easier because embroidery thread knots are tiny, tiny. So that one was a lot of fun.
Fun.
Yeah, this one too is like a more simple one, and this one I actually have a pattern for it that people can buy, which I'm sure we'll talk a little more about later.
Okay. I love how you started with a kit, got addicted, and then you're like, I'm making my own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and how creative. And I think that was probably pretty common during the pandemic. Everybody's looking for a hobby or something to do.
Well, so I really started, I never thought I would sell these, but I wanted to make an Instagram page to show like my family and friends. And then I kind of found that there are hundreds of people my age, girls my age, doing the exact same thing, which was, it was a little intimidating, but also was kind of fun to have like a new community, and like people, we would message each other and like comment on each other's work and ask for advice, and it was a lot of fun. But so really Instagram is kind of what jump started like me wanting to make more custom things for my friends and sell them. So yeah.
Nice. That's how me and my stitchy pals met. It was a Facebook group.
Okay.
So then it was like, okay, this Facebook group is fun, but how can we, get more connected?
Yeah.
And so
I'm sure your stitchy friends are from all over.
Yes,
everywhere, not just
all
Iowa.
Over, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to have that common thing, because I could tell my husband, look, I made this, and he's like, that's nice.
Like,
but
I don't get it. Yeah.
when you tell someone who, wow, that must have taken you a long time.
Yeah, people who really
they
understand the work that goes into it. Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is Abbie, but her Etsy and Instagram is Bound Heart Co. And I'll put a link to everything in the description.
Yeah.
So Bound Heart Co. Where did you get that?
So when I was thinking of a name for my Instagram, this is before I even thought of Etsy. This is just my Instagram page, and I thought of doing something like with my name, like Abbie Embroiderers or Ab something. And I was like, I like it when it's more of a unique, obscure name, because so many people put their name in front of whatever their Instagram page is about, and I wanted something a little different. So I started looking at hymns and like Bible lyrics and Bible verses and stuff like that, and lyrics from Christian songs, and I swear I looked through so many and just nothing stuck out to me. And then the line, it's bind my wandering heart to thee. The bind sort of stuck out to me as like a fiber arts, like embroidery type. Like, I don't really know what the connection is with that, but like you bind something with string or thread, and then heart, bound heart. It just happened.
Okay.
And it just sounded like a name of a business or something. So I just went with it, and then I used that for my Etsy after my Instagram got a little bit more recognition, and that's what I'm known as, I guess, now.
Okay, Bound Heart Co.
Yes.
I like it. Okay, so you made me think of a question when you were talking. Now I can't think of what it was. Okay, well, tell me about, since we're talking about the Etsy shop and everything, how does it work? Because you design your own pattern. You said that this one is actually a pattern. So I could download a pattern or I could buy one that you made, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so should we look at
Sure.
that? Yeah, we can come look at it on my computer.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my Etsy page. This is what it would look like if you were to click on the link in my Instagram or search for my business name in Etsy. So these are all of the listings I have. A lot of them, as you can see, say this little thing that says digital pattern or PDF. Digital pattern, PDF, PDF. I don't know why. I don't know why I sometimes say digital pattern and sometimes say PDF, but those are all my patterns that you can purchase, and you would actually get a digital download. And we'll talk more about that later, and I'll actually show an example of that what that'll look like. First, we have some of these hoops. This is a custom hoop that's made to order. So this is a cute little doodle dog here. Here's another example and another example. So yeah, this is something that you would select your fabric color. Light blue is pretty common because a lot of the dogs are black and white. And then the size, we can do 3 inches, 4 inches, or 5. And then this is where you would type the name of your dog. Like my dog's name is Mila, so that's what I would want on there. And that's basically how you would purchase that. And then the time to get those, it ranges from like 4 to 6 weeks, because I have to, design this and then stitch it, and it just takes, it takes a lot of time. And I love doing it, but it's always nice when the customer understands that this kind of thing takes a lot of time. My other favorite custom art to make is these state hoops. I started with a little hoop of Wisconsin back when I lived in Florida and I was missing home, and then I had some requests to make some other hoops, and since then every once in a while I'll get an order and they get to pick the fabric color and then the stitching color. This one was fun because they requested that I add their names. It was for a gift, I believe a wedding gift. So I love doing things like that. Like people will message me like, oh, could you do this please? Is this possible? And I just love being able to accommodate for things like that.
And you'll do these all throughout the year, like not just
definitely.
Christmas.
Yeah, and what I can do is I can set the amount of listings I have available. So if I'm really busy, I can only have like 2 or 3 available, but if I have a lot of time to work on it, I can set that to a higher number.
Okay.
So next we can look at this digital pattern. This is the one that I brought with to show in person. So this is a Christmas pattern because it is Christmas time. This is what the finished product would look like if you bought the pattern. A lot of people think they're purchasing this, but no, they're just purchasing a digital pattern, and the PDF is sent to you in an email. See, it says here digital download. So yeah, this kind of explains what you would get with it. It comes with a guide. It does not include step-by-step instructions, but it does include a lot that we can show you in just a second. Is there anything else you wanted to see on my Etsy page, or anything else we should look through?
No, I think it's very clear,
Okay,
and so if it doesn't say digital pattern or PDF, then that is the actual item that you buy. So people can order right off of your Etsy shop. I'm wondering also for ordering, does anyone contact you on your Instagram or DM you?
Yeah, a lot of people will ask me on Instagram, or if something's out of stock, they'll say, how do I order this? And I say, oh, sorry, you have to wait until it's in stock on my Etsy. But a lot of times people may not realize I have an Etsy shop, so they message me on Instagram right away and ask about things. And then that's where, like, for this hoop that I made, that I was saying I made like 15 or 16 of, that was someone Instagram messaged me because I think they knew it wouldn't be possible to purchase 16 at a time and have that be done in the manner that they wanted. So yeah, I do get a lot of Instagram messages about things like that, and a lot of Etsy messages too. Yeah, so if you ever want to request a custom order, you can click here. If you ever want to message me, you can click here.
Okay. And do you have more that you're working on? Are you adding to it?
I do. I love doing these PDF patterns because I get to just work on whatever I think is like comes to me creatively, and I don't have to really worry about making what other people expect me to make. So I really have a lot of creative liberty when I do that, and then I can create a pattern for it, upload it to Etsy, and then if people do like it, they can purchase it and make it for themselves. And I just think it's really fun. I just think it's so fun that I know people are out there who have made this pattern.
Right.
And had fun with it.
Yeah, and they could hashtag you on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, of course. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
So should we look at the in-person now?
Yes. Okay. So I would like to ask you about fabric.
Oh, yeah.
You said you do a lot with white. Like, as a cross-stitcher, we're always talking about fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we even, like, dye our own or something like that. So where do you get your fabric?
So since I use a lot of this white fabric, it's kind of a tight weave fabric, so there's no holes showing through it. I buy that in bulk from a fabric store, so I've gotten from Joann's before, and actually Walmart has just the most simple package. I don't have to go up to a counter or anything. It's already packaged up for me. So I do get a lot of the white fabric there. This fabric, and I believe this fabric. These two were actually thrifted. I believe they're both from placemats that you put under your plate on a dinner table. I think those are less popular now, the fabric placemats, but I was able to find, I think it was at a Goodwill, it's the linen section, and they're all hanging on little hangers that have the clips, and I was like, that is gonna be great for me. So I actually was able to find a lot of good colored fabrics that had really good, interesting textures that worked really well for embroidery, and that was a lot of fun. However, I am running out of those colors because I only could make about maybe 6 to 8 of each. So now I mostly stick with the white.
And then do you use DMC floss or?
Yes, mostly I just use DMC floss. That's sort of just when my mother-in-law gave me a bunch, that's what it was. And then that's mostly how I keep track of the colors too, because if you go into using other types of floss, then you're like, I need this certain color, but it might be slightly different or something. So yeah, I normally just stick with DMC thread, which has been great.
And then do you recommend the certain colors on the pattern? I guess we can look at
so this pattern is a little different because it's just the white, but I do have patterns where I will give suggestions, and what I do is I find about 3 colors, 3 numbers or 3 threads for each color, just in case you don't have. So I show the one that I use, and then I give 2 alternates just in case you don't want to run to the store and have to get one. And it's okay if you use a slightly different shade of red or something like that. So yeah, and then a lot of times I will also give 3 to 4 color schemes that would work well for the pattern. So like if there's a cooler color scheme or a warmer color scheme or brighter or muted, I kind of give options so people know what to do. Yeah.
We say in cross-stitch world, we say, I used the called for colors.
Yes.
Or I didn't use
or
the
I
called
did
for.
not use
I shopped my stash. Or I did a floss toss.
A floss toss, what's that?
That's where you don't want to go to the store and get that DMC. You just look through your stash and you just toss floss into your project bag.
So yeah, I want pattern making to be fun and creative instead of like, this is how you have to do it. So I like to give people a lot of creative liberty when they're making my patterns, for sure.
Nice.
And do you want to take a look at this one? So I have here this Christmas Noel embroidery pattern. This is what you would get if you purchase the digital listing, I guess is what it would be called. So this is just kind of the title page. The whole pattern comes first with a little guide, and it kind of just explains what you need to make the pattern, what you get in what I have made, and then just a few embroidery tips and tricks. I don't give too much. A lot of creators will include stitching instructions, like how to do a back stitch, how to do a French knot. But I know there's so many resources out there for people to, and a lot of people already know how. So I know that I don't necessarily need to be another resource that's confusing people, and it's just also a lot of work to write that up. So to keep the cost a little lower, I don't include those step-by-step stitching instructions. But I do include a stitching guide. So this would explain that for all of these little florals or these little patterns, you would use the back stitch, and it gives some instructions on how to do that or what to expect. And then this next page would show these French or colonial knots, and it would show where to do those. So it kind of helps people who maybe they're familiar with stitching and they know how to do these stitches, but they need guidance on what am I supposed to do at this spot. So this would show all the locations where you do lazy daisy or detached chain stitch. Yeah, and then just a few tips and tricks just to make that a little easier. Here's another little part of the stitching guide that you get that explains how to do, like where to place your hoop in order to get these stitches to the edge.
Oh, wow.
And then this is the actual pattern that you would get. And this digital pattern comes with a 3-inch, 3, 5, and 6. It might be 3, 4, and 6, but different sizes. So if you want to make an ornament, you would want to use like the 3-inch. And then if you want a bigger display hoop, you'd want to use the 6-inch. So it really gives you a lot of options. And those you can print out. And then however you transfer embroidery patterns onto embroidery, whether you use like a window, you can trace, or you can print it onto the fabric if you want. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And then if you ever have any questions about that, I don't include the instructions for that in my patterns, but I am always available for you to message me, and I always am willing to give more detailed step-by-step instructions as well.
Okay, so that brings up what? Print on fabric. Okay, but you said there's lots of ways you can do that.
Yeah.
So I like to just hold it up to the window.
Yeah, that's probably the simplest way if you're just starting out and want to just kind of do your first embroidery or whatever. That's probably the best way to do it for sure.
Do you use a pencil when you do that, or one of those?
I actually use, they're called Frixion pens. They're by Pilot, and you trace it on. So you would have the paper with the design under, then you'd have your fabric, then you'd trace the pen over that. And after you're done embroidering, stitching over those pen marks, it is heat erasable. So you can blow dry it, or you can use a iron if you want to use an iron. That works really well. So then all those lines disappear. So if you make any mistakes with the lines, those will be gone. It's super nice. There's also, it's like a paper fabric that's sticky. Oh. I don't know if I've told you about this. I think I did briefly, but you can put it on top of your embroidery. So like this would be the fabric, this would be the paper, and you can actually stitch up and down through that, and then it washes away once you're done. So there's a lot of ways to transfer your patterns onto embroidery. It's a lot of fun to kind of learn how to do it and what works best for you.
What about what needles do you use?
Probably some people are more like use this needle, you have to use this needle. I just find the one that's on the shelf and it looks like the size I want. A lot of people have trouble getting the thread through the eye of the needle, and I try to buy needles with eyes that are not too big, that it breaks your fabric, like it can put a hole in your fabric, or just make it hard to pull in and out. Sometimes it gets really hard, you're like tugging it, but not too small that you can't get it through. And then it should be pretty firm and sturdy because you're going to be doing a lot back and forth. It shouldn't be bendy at all. I think the size I use is 5, and it's a DMC brand.
Okay, good. Yeah, I use cross stitch needles.
Yeah,
and totally different.
Totally different.
But yeah, and what is that called? The needle thredder that helps you get.
Yeah, I think it's just called a threader.
through.
Yeah, needle thredder.
Those are.
I'm too lazy to use those, so I'll be like, oh, I should just use one.
Yeah. No. Hey, if you don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine.
Okay, so I'm thinking ahead, and I'm thinking of a future video. And again, we're close enough that we can get together here. So I'm thinking, have you over again. I download one of your patterns.
Ooh.
I get the hoop. I get the fabric. I get the needle.
Oh my goodness.
And you could show me some things in person.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean, it's been a while since I've done the Lazy Daisy. I don't know what a colonial knot is, only a French knot. But I would love that. You know, we could like record over our shoulder or something.
Well, and something I've always wanted to do too is create a pattern that uses every stitch that I want to teach. And it would be a pattern that basically shows each stitch. Like it'd be in lines or something like that. They're usually called samplers. So you get to kind of sample each stitch. So that could be something we think about doing too.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah.
I like that. And I don't know. This is just inspiring. It just makes me want to stitch.
It's a lot of fun to share and kind of reminisce on all that I've learned and done through this experience. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I'll have links to Bound Heart Co. Instagram and Etsy shop in the description, so you can contact Abbie. And I really appreciate having you on.
It was a lot of fun.
Great.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.